In the heart of the Niger Delta, where rivers snake through the mangrove forests and palm trees towered over the land, a formidable force and nature arose in the 19th century. His name was Nana Olomu, a merchant and political leader of the 𝗕𝗂𝗍 people, who commanded both the flow of palm oil and the allegiance of the surrounding communities. Nana's rise to power, however, was not a mere accident of birth. It was the result of shrewdness, strategy, and an unwavering will to protect his people's way of life from foreign domination. Nana Olomu was born into the 𝗕𝗏𝗱𝗏 family, inheriting a legacy of trade and leadership in the 𝗕𝗂𝗍 kingdom of Warri. As the young Olomu grew, he absorbed the secrets of the palm oil trade, which had become the lifeblood of the region. Palm oil, once a simple resource, had transformed into a highly sought-after commodity, driving the economy of the Delta and attracting European power eager to dominate the trade. The British, in particular, had established themselves along the coast, but they had yet to control the intricate web of commerce that stretched inland. By the time Olomu came of age, he had already earned a reputation for being a brilliant merchant and a fierce protector of the 𝗕𝗂𝗍's interest. He soon assumed leadership of the 𝗕𝗂𝗍 trading network, which spanned from the inland producers of the palm oil to the coastal ports where the European ships waited. Nana became the central figure in this thriving business, controlling much of the trade in the Benin and 𝗟𝗏𝗱𝗄 rivers. Nana's influence went beyond wealth. He was a political force. Under his leadership, the 𝗕𝗂𝗍 people grew prosperous, their culture and identity thriving under his protection. He carefully navigated the complex polities of the Delta, maintaining alliances with neighboring groups and commanding the loyalty of local chiefs. The British, however, were growing increasingly impatient with Nana's dominance. As British colonial ambitions intensified in the late 19th century, they sought to expand their control over the Niger Delta's lucrative trade routes. They demanded more direct access to the palm oil and expected local leaders to submit to their authority. Nana, ever the tactician, resisted. He refused to allow the British to bypass the 𝗕𝗂𝗍 traders and negotiate directly with inland producers. This defiance frustrated the British, who saw Nana as an obstacle to their imperial plans. Tensions between Nana and the British reached a boiling point in 1894. The British accused Nana of obstructing free trade, claiming that he imposed unfair tolls to their ship and blocked the waterways. This accusation, however, marks the real issue. The British wanted full control of the palm oil trade, and Nana stood in their way. Determined to break Nana's power, the British declared war. They dispatched a powerful naval force, armed with the latest weapons, to capture Nana and bring the 𝗕𝗂𝗍 under their rule. But Nana was no longer a stranger to conflict. He had fortified his capital at 𝗓𝗏𝗻𝗍, a town strategically located along the river, surrounded by thick mangroves and protected by a network of creeks that only his people knew how to navigate. When the British forces arrived, they were met with fierce resistance. Nana's warriors fought valiantly, using the landscape to their advantage, striking from the shadows and retreating into the safety of the swamps. For weeks, the British struggled to make headway, their superior firepower frustrated by the cunning of Nana's forces. But the British, relentless in their pursuit, eventually overwhelmed 𝗓𝗏𝗻𝗍 with a devastating bombardment. Nana, realizing his capital could soon fall, fled into the Delta's vast waterway, determined to continue the fight. For weeks, he evaded capture, becoming a symbol of defiance against British rule. However, with British forces tightening their grip, Nana was eventually betrayed by one of his own and captured. In a final humiliation, he was exiled to Ghana, far from his homeland and the kingdom he had fought so hard to protect. Nana's exile marked the end of 𝗕𝗂𝘃 resistance, and the British quickly established control over the region. But they could not erase his legacy. His story became a legend among his people, a story of resistance, courage, and a leader who stood firm against imperial might. In 1906, the British allowed Nana to return to Nigeria, but by then, the world he had fought for was already lost. The 𝗕𝗂𝘃 kingdom had been absorbed into the British Empire, and the trade routes that once fueled their prosperity were now in foreign hands. Yet Nana Olomu remained a symbol of fierce independence to the Niger Delta people, a merchant king who had risen to greatness and fought to protect his land from foreign domination. Though defeated, Nana Olomu's name lived on, etched into the history of the Delta, a reminder of the power and resilience of those who dare to stand against the tide of empire.